If you're a defensive back or secondary that's consistently getting beat in zone coverage, you're probably making one or more of these mistakes. We're talking about it today on DB Tech Clips. I'm Chad Wilson, DB trainer, owner of All Eyes DB Camp, and author of the book 101 DB Tips. We are talking about zone coverage today and some of the mistakes that you may be making that's not allowing you to play the best that you can play when you are in zone coverage. And you're going to want to stay tuned to the end of this video because I have a couple of great resources for you that is going to take your DB game to the ultimate level. All right, let's jump into this thing. Your zone coverage. Let's try and fix it. And let's hit you where you need to be. It sure would be nice if we could just line up in man coverage all the time without getting tired of having the offense do things to beat it. Of course it would. That would be simple, but it's not reality. So every defense has to be able to run zone coverage at some point. As true as the previous statements were, the fact remains that many teams are unable to run zones for a variety of reasons. And in this video, I'm going to give you the 4 biggest mistakes that players and teams make when running zone coverage. The first and probably biggest mistake you're making is not communicating. This is the biggest problem that teams have when playing zone. As stated in the book 101 DB Tips, in zone you cover with your mouth as opposed to covering with your legs the way that you do when you're playing man. Zone coverage requires you to most often be dedicated to a certain zone on the field. Once the offense snaps the ball and the routes start to unfold, it's crucial for the defense, especially in the secondary, to communicate to one another where the routes are coming from. We only have 2 eyes, and oftentimes they're focused on a variety of things. When the secondary communicates with each other, each defender essentially has more than just 2 eyes. They're now receiving information from each other about who's entering their zones, thus allowing them to be in the proper position should the ball be thrown there. It's essential for players and coaches to emphasize communicating heavily when teaching and playing zone cover. Number 2 is not aligning right. As the old saying goes, it starts with your alignment. Players could put themselves at a disadvantage in zone coverage before the ball is even snapped. They're not aligned correctly. This is exactly what's happening. This is one of those details that are very important as a defensive back. Not aligning with the proper outside or inside leverage can allow a receiver to attack your zone and receive the ball before you're able to get there. Aligning too shallow or too far off can allow either an easy completion in your zone or a big play in the zone because you're not where you should be in terms of your proper depth. Take your alignment seriously when you're playing zone. Some players think zone coverage is a time for them to be lazy because they're not going to be chasing a receiver. However, you can fall asleep in zone and give up a big play that hurts your team. Alignment before assignment should be your motto. Finally, the 4th biggest mistake you're making is chasing routes. If you wouldn't get benched by your coach in a hurry, chase routes in zone coverage. Zone coverage is just that. Zone coverage. You're responsible for a zone, not a man. Players who can't differentiate between the two and chase players leaving their zones wide open are often pulling splitters out of their rear end from sitting on the bench. Lock in on what your coverage is supposed to be and what your responsibility is. Also, know the responsibility of the others around you in zone coverage. Knowing this prevents you from chasing routes that you're not supposed to be chasing. They're not your responsibility. Knowing what you're supposed to do is one thing, but knowing who has the other zones will prevent you from getting tricked by routes getting run by the offense. Study your playbook, take notes, and ask questions about the different zone coverages if you don't have a full understanding of it. A full understanding means knowing your job plus everyone else's job around you. Staying away from these big 4 mistakes can allow you to be a master when it comes to zone coverage. Oftentimes, zone coverage gives a defender more opportunities to make interceptions. It's cool to be a lockdown man defender. However, also being great at zone makes you a more valuable player to your team and overall better player. Hey, in that comment section down below, tell me, how good are you at running zone? Are you a better zone defender or a better man defender when you are playing in the secondary? Drop a comment on that down below. Also, don't forget to pick up a copy of 101 DB Tips. It's available both as a softcover version like this one right here, as well as an ebook. Have a link to it down in the description below. And of course, the All Eyes DB Camp members area is there for you as well. Over 200 videos on advanced DB topics designed to take you from where you are now to the elite level. So make sure you check that out. Outside of that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I'm dropping DB videos like this on a weekly basis, so you don't want to miss out. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you're notified. And as always, All Eyes DB Camp, consistency brings results.